Hey there, this is Gio from Hitbox Gaming, and it's time for us to do another review. This time, Diablo meets Slay the Spire in this indie game that I've been playing for the last week. How does this work? How does it play out? Let me share my thoughts and experience. This is our 5-minute review for Book of Demons. Starting with the gameplay, Book of Demons is a roguelike dungeon crawler game where you fight enemies using different cards that you can find within the dungeon. You get to pick whatever combination of cards you think will be useful for your run. The different card types are item cards, which are your potions and your bombs, spell cards that you can actively use to destroy your enemies, and artifact cards, which have different passive effects ranging from additional offensive to defensive capabilities. The tooltip and the card effects are all simple enough so players can easily understand them, and creating your build is not that complicated. These cards are all upgradable, which increases their effect, but will also cost more mana, which you need to equip artifact cards and cast your spell cards. There are also different card rarity, ranging from common to legendary, that gives additional effects to these cards. You can often find yourself managing your gold resources, planning ahead which card to upgrade, downgrade, and reallocate, or when to spend it on your cauldron to get prizes and stats. The dungeon crawling and the combat mechanics of the game is what amazes me. You can only walk to 4 directions inside the dungeon, which makes it simpler. The screen is on top of a top-down isometric view, just like Diablo, and you encounter a lot of enemies along the way. There are different ways to fight monsters, but you should not worry too much because the game holds your hand and shows you how to fight these monsters the first time you encounter them. Still, it's quite challenging and overwhelming at times, especially when a lot of goatmen throw their javelin at you before you can get close to them. There are 3 different classes to choose from. You have the warrior, rogue, and mage, each having a different set of cards you can use, and forces you to have at least a little bit of different playstyles between each of these classes. Using the right element can also be very helpful in fighting these pesky demons. The combat can be taxing at times and would require the right amount of attention from players as you use the mouse cursor to cancel enemy spells, destroy enemy shields, or cure yourself from being poisoned. Though some might notice that this game has too much mouse clicking involved, so it would be a challenge to the developers in case they want to port it into another platform. Now, I mentioned that this game is characterized as a roguelike game, though when I first played it in normal difficulty, it was not punishing enough and did not give me the feeling that it really is a roguelike game. So if you're someone who plays roguelike and is looking for a real challenge, then the higher difficulty is what you are looking for. I personally got hooked playing this game on the later parts of the dungeon on my first normal difficulty playthrough. That is where I encountered a whole lot of enemies, and it required a decent amount of attention and focus from me in order to survive. From there, I can see myself playing this game over and over again on higher difficulty levels. This game is more focused on the gameplay and challenges instead of any deep lore or story. The lore of the game is not that substantial enough in my opinion. Maybe it did not appeal that much to me because of too much humor in the game, removing the seriousness and the importance of the lore or story. One unique feature of the game that caught my attention is the flexi scope. This is where you should set how much of the dungeon will you be exploring. It's sort of setting around how long your game session lasts. You can also track your progress and see how much more you need to go before reaching the deepest part of the dungeon. A single run, which means going through a dungeon from top to bottom, takes an average total of 10 hours. Combine that with different sub-bosses, main bosses, card builds, and classes, this game will surely take a lot more than 10 hours before you are fully done with it. And before ending the review, I would also like to mention the art style they used in this game. The paper theme is a genius choice to pick, which made the game simpler looking and very easy in the eyes. Check out this awesome indie game yourself and tell us what you think about it, because for us, we'll be giving it an A for awesome, or maybe C for challenging. Well, let's make it a V for a very entertaining, demon exterminating game with light to heavy challenges. Don't be shy to check out our Twitter page as well. Subscribe for more 5-minute reviews and other video game topics from me and Eric. See you in the next one. Bye!